Coming to you from Big Ten Media Days here in Chicago, I'm Doug Maurice with Bill Landis and Coach Ari. He's not a coach. Who's the coach?
You're the coach, Doug.
He can be the coach today. It's the second day of Big Ten Media Days. Jim Harbaugh, James Franklin from Penn State, the headliners, Mike Riley from Nebraska. But yesterday, we talked to Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes a lot. Bill and Coach, as we think about what we learned from that, what did we take away about the quarterback battle that maybe we didn't know before? We've been doing our hot lists. I'm sure we'll have another one coming out soon of what we think about the quarterback battle. From what Urban Meyer, especially, maybe the other guys too, said yesterday, what did we learn?
I think it was reaffirmed a bit that JT Barrett is certainly the kind of guy that Urban Meyer loves in a quarterback, personality-wise and on the field, obviously. But I think there are people who think it's kind of cut and dry, that maybe things work better with Cardale just based on what happened at the end of last year. I don't think it's viewed that way in Urban Meyer's eyes. I think it's very much a competition. I think there may be people who forget about what JT Barrett did last year. Urban Meyer certainly doesn't forget what JT Barrett did last year. I think he likes the leadership qualities, and I think he's looking for more from Cardale. He's kind of said it all summer, that Cardale still has some room to grow off the field. So I think that's a big issue in this thing. When he talks about grading guys on so many different scales, what he does off the field is extremely important, and I think Cardale has some room to grow in that area, and Urban Meyer's kind of watching that with a close eye.
What did we learn about guts, Ari?
Well, I think that when you talk about the actual argument, we've had this discussion a million times, and all the Ohio State fans all summer have spent, is how do you take the guy off the field that won it for you? And I think that there's a certain measure of there's a certain value to that, of course, but I don't think that's the complete value. Urban Meyer said that it was going to be very calculated, using his mind more than his gut. And then he said, at Big Ten Media Day this week, that he made an error in saying that gut's going to be part of it. So I think watching some of the things that Cardale Jones did to will Ohio State to a national championship is going to be part of the gut. The JT Barrett play at the end of Penn State when he had a knee injury and he drove into the end zone to win that game for them is going to be part of the gut. So I think there's going to be a lot of numbers and the way people perform and who had the best percentage of reps and all that stuff is going to be tactically involved in who makes this decision. But I think that ultimately when Urban Meyer makes the decision who's going to start for Virginia Tech, a lot of it's going to be about who's the guy in his gut that really gives Ohio State a chance to win, and I think that that's still something that he needs to find out.
All right. Lots of times when we come to Big Ten Media Days, there's like a lot of boring stuff, kind of, like everybody goes up to the podium. We haven't done a video in a while. I got to say, that sucked. That was so boring. This is the quarterback battle. You said the phrase tactically involved. Tactically involved? Let's talk about quarterbacks. Don't coach speak me. You're coach speaking me. Bro, where's the Swassy swagger that make these videos must-see videos? We've completely forgotten how to do this. You guys just repeated the same thing. You said the exact same thing that each other said. Throw back. Listen, it's Cardale, it's JT, Braxton Miller's going to be an H-back throwing stuff. Like this is an exciting battle. Make me excited. Okay, so the first video was terrible, and then it didn't film right. So we're back. What have we learned? Quarterback battle. Talk guts, Ari.
We have to be more exciting. Okay. What we learned about the quarterback position battle is in the spring, the last thing Urban Meyer said was how everything is going to be on lists and kept track of and reps, and everything's going to be so, to the point mathematically kept. And he kind of underestimated the idea of going with his gut to help Ohio State determine who's going to start at Ohio State's quarterback position. So it's more about what Urban Meyer remembers from last season about gritty plays and leadership and just some intangibles that you can't quite quantify in a spreadsheet. So that's going to be a big part of it. And obviously Cardale Jones' biggest claim to fame is helping Ohio State win it on the field, and JT did some good things too. So a lot of stuff's going to happen in fall camp, but at the same time, Urban said he's going to use his gut from what he remembers from last year.
I think he wanted to make the point before that it's not going to just be gut, but the point he's making now, it's not going to be no gut. It's going to be both analytics and gut. Gut for some people, tells you that the offense worked better with Cardale Jones in the postseason for some reason. Do you think that is part of his gut, or did we learn something here that's not what he's thinking?
Yeah, I think he kind of knocked that down a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I think people saw what happened in the last 3 games of last season and saw Cardale's huge arm, and I don't know, I'm not an offensive coordinator, but safety's playing further back from the line, and that allowed Ezekiel Elliott to run crazy for 3 games. Urban Meyer kind of said that wasn't quite the case. He gave more credit to the offensive line than anybody else. I don't even think Cardale's name came up when he was talking about why Elliott had such a good 3-game run. So I think that might be overstated a little bit. If you go back and watch, I watched the Michigan State game last week. If you go back and watch that game, JT Barrett was making some of those deep throws because he had to, just with the way Michigan State was playing defense. And Michigan State's defense is probably just as good, if not better, than two of the 3 defenses they played in that 3-game run. So I think that has been overstated a bit, and I think Urban Meyer went out of his way a little bit to remind people that JT can do the things that Cardale did in that 3-game run. You just didn't get a chance to see it.
One thing I think that's interesting in this battle is Tom Herman's not here. And if Tom Herman was here, I think his voice in deciding this would be huge. Urban Meyer talked yesterday here at Big Ten Media Days that, Tim Beck is a new quarterbacks coach. He said, Tim, you're not making this decision. Like, not in a way like you're not making this decision, but like, listen, we can't put that on you. You're trying to learn the offense and learn these guys. So obviously, Urban Meyer's the head coach. It was going to be his call regardless, but I really think it's going to be really a lot of Urban Meyer just because, Tim Beck maybe can analyze these guys now in practice and he'll be part of it. But I think a new quarterbacks coach does change the dynamics of this a little bit. So when will we find out? When do we think we're going to find out? Urban Meyer had maybe said before he wants to figure it out maybe the middle of camp, but do you think we'll find out then?
I don't think we're going to. I think I could see this really playing out all the way throughout fall camp, because why would it be any other way? It's just more fun that way, right? More speculations, more hot boards, more discussions about things. So it would be interesting to see if they went into that game and we were all at the edge of our seats 5 minutes before kickoff to see who runs out onto the field. Could you imagine that? I think it's going to be a close competition. Especially now that Braxton's out, it's just kind of interesting. You think it would make it easier, but I think it might make it more tight because there will be more splitting with the 1 and 2 reps, more chances for both guys to look good. So that's going to be interesting.
I do feel like there's been a little bit of a vibe of when he talks about the quarterbacks, he says, JT Barrett, unbelievable. Yeah. And Cardale's good too, but he sort of seems to lead with JT a lot. When I asked him yesterday about, let's not just forget that, it's not just JT Barrett. How much could JT Barrett be that much better? Because he was a redshirt freshman last year, and Urban was like, oh, he's going to be like ridiculously better, So has anything changed for you here about what you thought, or has it confirmed what you thought about this battle?
If you paid attention to the hot list, I've been higher on JT Barrett than I have been on Cardale Jones the entire way. I think maybe what we heard here in Chicago widened that gap a little bit more for me. I think JT Barrett is definitely the prototype Urban Meyer quarterback, both with what he does on the field and the way he can lead. And I think Urban is looking for more of that from Cardale, which has been said throughout the spring. But I think here, Urban was a little more definitive maybe about his views on the whole thing. I think JT got pumped up a little bit here.
And something that Cardale needs probably is a guy to throw the ball to down the field. Urban Meyer said here, Michael Thomas is not that guy. Michael Thomas is clearly the number 1 receiver. That's sort of not his thing. Yeah. Everybody needs a deep threat. This offense needs a deep threat, but Cardale especially needs someone to go get that. Who could get it? Could Braxton Miller be that guy?
Well, it was interesting because Urban said one of the biggest concerns they have in the offense is replacing Devin Smith. And I think people might be underestimating just how good Devin Smith was for Cardale Jones, because Cardale Jones, as a new quarterback, might not have had the timing right down completely. And Devin Smith, a few times, just jumped over people as a high jumper and got it. So not only was he fast and crazy athletic, but he also had an ability to jump very high. I don't think there's going to be anybody quite like Devin Smith on this year's roster. But when they asked who's going to replace him, Urban said that was one of their biggest concerns. And Johnny Dixon is a guy that his name was thrown out there, and he had surgery in both knees last year to clean up some arthritis issues. That doesn't sound too good, but they say he's completely healthy and ready to go, and they're going to be counting on him. And then he threw out Braxton Miller's name. Now, could you imagine Braxton Miller being the deep threat on this team? I think that'd be kind of fun to watch. Certainly didn't expect that one coming out of his mouth though soon.
So lots of quarterback talk. Obviously, every little thing tells us a tiny bit more. But obviously, when camp starts August 10th, we'll be there, and that's, I mean, my gosh. I mean, I don't know how many practices we're going to watch, but like every little thing that anybody says then, we're going to like break down everything because we got to figure this out. All right. Was that a little better? Was that better?
What I think that was the first practice of fall when Urban comes into the room and goes, that wasn't our best effort, but hey, it's early, we'll get better. You know, we're coming off in a national championship season of coverage too, so we got to get back into this.
Okay, you can't, that's gone. This is a new year, Ari. It's a new year. For Bill Landis, Doug Lesmerises, Coach Ari Wasserman here in Chicago, thanks for watching here at cleveland.com.